2022. It's the third season, of course, here. And, well, we've still got the same old leader. Tim Heinemann leads the championship coming into today's race. Of course, race winner from yesterday and starts on pole position today. There is Sophie Hoffman starting at the back of the grid in the number 48. As you can see, all of the cars then are on the grid waiting very patiently. We've got about 10 minutes, I think, till race start, maybe a little bit longer, and we will get a chance to look through all of the drivers. But it is indeed the lead then in the championship for Tim Heinemann. 126 points then for the Toyota Gazoo Racing Germany, powered by Ring Racing. Of course, the longest name in motorsport history for a team. And Tim Heinemann still smiling. Can't believe it. 2 years ago, you'd never get a smile out of him. But now, oh, different human being. Ricky Capo then, Aubière, looking to indeed get his first victory in the DTM Trophy. His best chance. Very unfortunate season so far, but had some serious pace when it comes to qualifying. Teammate then, Daniel Gregor, started P14 yesterday and finished in P2. He's starting P3 today. He's made life very easy for himself if he wants to get up the order. Only needs to make 2 overtakes today. He will start then in 3rd position. I called him a Frenchman, by the way, yesterday. He's not. He's from Germany. I'm fully aware of that as well. No idea why I say things, but here we are. I'm a commentator. I get things wrong. Here is then Thiago Vivacqua, started in the exact same position. P4 yesterday, got up into the lead, and then just missed his braking point down in towards turn number 1. He actually had some issues yesterday, and the safety car kind of saved his podium. He got P3, it saved his podium, and, well, he'll be looking to go 1, maybe even 2 better today and get a race victory. Eduard Kohoper, he is in P5 then, with those luscious locks as usual. He's looking down at the camera, and he's kind of acknowledging it, but then he's like, nah, do you know what? No, I'm too busy. I'm in the zone. But can he indeed grab himself a race victory? There's his teammate, Rodrigo Almeida, for the BWT Muka Motorsport team, representing Mozambique. Nice little wave there to the camera. There's the boss, DTM champion Martin Tomczyk. Beautiful man. P7 and Moritz Lohner for FK Performance Motorsport in that number 11. Nice little look at the camera. As mentioned yesterday, he took me around a Nordschleife, and I prefer not to talk about it, actually. There's Theo Overhaus's dad. Of course, Overhaus, the youngest ever driver to race in the DTM. Just finished the DTM race. He led the race as well. No one can ever take that away from him. He led a DTM race at 17 years old. This young man's got such a bright future ahead of him. He is going to be an absolute monster on the race circuit. 17. Jacob Riegel in the number 63 then for Team Speed Monkeys. He starts in P9. Teammate Nick Hanker. You'll see lots of these yellow hats around the grid and around the paddock because Nick had loads of hats made up, and, well, they have been gobbled up like hotcakes for sure. Big smiles on his face. I also went round a Nordschleife with him in a car, and it was equally not as fun. He starts on the same row as his teammate. Mark de Fulgencio started right at the back of the grid yesterday and made his way up the order. He starts today in P11. Of course, you will remember him from season number 1. So this is his 2nd season. He wasn't here last season. Back to the front of the grid, and that is the number 90 in that Toyota, Tim Heinemann. Has the success ballast, of course. Does that give Ricky Capo an opportunity to potentially make some moves? Be cool, be fast, be first. Lewis Henkefend, who's got the biggest fan club poster I have ever seen in my life. His friends are all here to watch him this weekend, and they've got a massive poster, like canvas, hanging from their hotel window, just overseeing the track. Colin Karasani came into the weekend as the championship leader. He's lost that championship lead, though, unfortunately, and his qualifying for this race has not been great. So he really does need to get his head down and try and gobble up as many points as possible. He hopes that Tim gets involved in some fights at the front and maybe gets shuffled backwards. Who knows? Alexandre Papadopoulos then for the Sedeslar Racing Team, SRT, starting down in P14 on the same row as Karasani. So just in behind then, there is Jordan Wallace as well for FK Performance Motorsport. And then we've got Sophie Hoffman in the Hyder Motorsport Audi. Well, here he is, Jordan Wallace, number 23, with his film crew. They're actually filming a documentary series about his racing journey as well. Real cool bunch of lads. So Wallace under the guise, or under the advice and the tips and tricks of Ben Green, of course, champion from last season, improving each and every race. And here is Sophie Hoffman, starting in P16 for Hyder Motorsport. A little wave to the camera. We love to see it. So not long to go here then. Maybe 4 minutes, I would say, before we do indeed get going with our formation lap. Where are we watching then from around the world? I've got the YouTube chat open. I'm sure there are people watching on television all around the world as well. If you would like to tweet at me or indeed send an Instagram message, it's at ActrolVision on Twitter and indeed Instagram. If you're on YouTube right now, you can let me know who you're supporting, where you're watching from around the world, and put those flag emojis in there as well. Would be very much appreciated. Hopefully you do indeed enjoy what you're about to see. Overhouse then. Yesterday, it was a little bit too much racing in DTM and DTM Trophy, and the fatigue definitely showed during the race. Just fell a bit backwards during the race. Is that going to be the same today? It's a normal schedule, so it might be a little bit easier for Teo Overhouse, but I would not, wouldn't hold it against him if he did fall backwards, because the schedule he's had this weekend has been unbelievable. Again, to be the youngest ever driver in DTM history, that is a crazy stat. But then to also still do double duty with the DTM Trophy, yeah, that shows some serious stamina as well. So it all comes down to the race time. Everybody indeed moving off of the grid. And will Tim Heineman still lead the championship after this race? The championship lead now is 15 points, 126 points then for Tim Heineman. Colin Karasani is on 111. Teo Overhouse is on 76. Then in third position, we've then got Vivacqua, who is on 67 points in fourth position. Unless Henkefend and potentially Almeida have an amazing run of races, it might only be a 4-car championship battle. Here are your official grid standings then. Tim Heineman, Ricky Capo, front row. Daniel Gregor, Thiago Vivacqua, second row. Eduard Kauhalper is indeed in fifth, with Almeida in sixth. Lohner and Overhouse are on the fourth row. Regal and Hanke are in the fifth row. We've got Fulgencio and Henkefend, Colin Karasani, Papadopoulos, Jordan Wallace and Sophie Hoffman are indeed your 16 drivers. Ricky Capo has showed some serious pace during this weekend. If you follow at DTM Trophy on Instagram, he did the track walk guide this week as well. He did a bit of testing last week as well here at the circuit last Sunday. If there's ever a race he should be winning, it's this one here. But the worst thing about that is that Tim Heineman starts right in front of him, and Tim Heineman is a very tough cookie to crack. Everybody now is off of the grid, and we have merely got a minute to wait. 30 minutes plus 1 lap. What that means is, once the drivers have crossed the line with 0 for the first time, they still have 1 more lap to complete. If there are any safety cars, we more than likely would add laps on up to 3, but let's hope for a nice, clear 30-minute race plus 1. Oh, we just had an unofficial kiss cam there as well. Feels like we're at a basketball game. Tell you what, though, it's warm. You can see the heat haze there coming off of the circuit. As we're waiting for the leading car to take us away. There's Tim Heineman to the left. Formation lap time. Ricky Capo on the right-hand side, followed by Thiago Vivacqua in fourth. But then they've got Daniel Gregor in third. Will the two teammates keep out of each other's way here? Capo and Gregor. They've got to play this clever here. They've got to play it to their advantage. But they've also got the BWT drivers in 5th and 6th position. So they've got to make sure they don't let them get involved. Vivacqua yesterday had a flying start and managed to get himself into the lead momentarily from 4th position into turn number 1, but then missed his braking point. He's got pace here. He's also done 12 laps of the Nordschleife since Tuesday. Some of them in really quick cars, and 8 of them in an Opel Corsa. He just likes doing laps. He loves this place so much that he's actually signed up to do a 4-hour VLN race on iRacing next week around this circuit, with the Nordschleife included as well. So yeah, the Brazilian absolutely loves this place. Can he get a race victory under his belt? If Capo was to win, or Vivacqua was to win, potentially if Kauhalper or Almeida was to win, they would indeed be maiden victories. Gregor as well. Heinemann, of course, has won about 763 DTM Trophy races in his 26 outings. He also does tie Ben Green for 26 races in the DTM Trophy. He obviously has more wins and he has more points, but he now has the same amount of drives as Ben Green. So there we go. Along the back part of this circuit, up towards that final chicane and into that final corner. They will indeed now grid up side by side. Once they go around that final corner, you'll notice that they go really early around here. They're waiting for the green lights. It's not a long run from the final corner down towards the lights here. And then it's 30 minutes of racing. Tim Heinemann says the Porsche are so fast in a straight line. Is that going to come into fruition here? We are over the halfway point of the season now. This is the second half of the season here. Will Ricky Capo have a better second half of the season? Will Tim Heinemann continue to be dominant in this championship? Daniel Gregor, will he continue his performance from yesterday? Can Vivacqua hit the brakes at the right time into turn 1 and potentially take the lead? We are here then for race 2 of the weekend. It is indeed race 8 of the season. Green lights are there and we are green light racing. Tim Heinemann off the line there beautifully well. Ricky Capo's first phase was not good, but look at him now coming around the outside. Thiago Vivacqua is looking to make it 3 wide. We've got Gregor boxed in, and then we've got indeed Kauhalper trying to get involved here as well. And I tell you what, Capo's going to be overtaken here by Gregor. Daniel Gregor will go up to P2. Vivacqua around the outside, almost 3 wide. We've got Capo now down into P4, potentially down into P5, as I think Overhaus is trying to get involved here as well. Kauhalper then has moved up to P4 himself. Tim Heinemann again, like yesterday, has absolutely got the dream start here. He's got 3 cars in the background fighting for position, which means he can just drive away. Vivacqua looking for a move potentially there on Gregor. Not quite close enough. They've got into single file relatively quickly here, then down in towards the right hand, and this is turn 5. The track will fall away from you here, so you've got to make sure that you hit that apex. Overhaus now trying to also go past Ricky Capo. We've got Moritz Lohner in a medium marked FK Performance car also trying to get through as well, but as it stands, it's still the lead for Heinemann. Heinemann's got a lovely gap then to Daniel Gregor. Vivacqua in P3, Kauhalper. We've got Capo, Overhaus, Lohner, Almeida, Henkefend and Riegel as your top 10. And there's a mistake there from Kauhalper, there's a mistake from Overhaus as well, and Ricky Capo with a little bit of luck there has managed to gain 1 position, but he's just got no pressure on from behind for the first time this whole lap. The front 3 have got away. Moritz Lohner taking full advantage. He's now up into a top 5. We've got Henkefend trying to get ahead of Almeida as well. Almeida has moved up the order as his teammates dropping there like a stone. Well, in the background there, it looks like that might be Overhaus. Is that Overhaus? It is Overhaus. He's dropped right to the back of the order here, and I'm not too sure exactly what has happened. Looks like Papadopoulos has made some positions up, so has Hoffman. And well, that is just an incredible first lap, a clean first lap as well. This is exactly what we want to see from these drivers. Sensational stuff here. Heinemann still leads though from Gregor, and Heinemann is just going to be loving this because Karasani, although Karasani has actually gained 4 positions, he's up to P9 now. So he really is trying to have a damage limitation weekend here, but he does need the other drivers at the front being Gregor and Vivacqua, and maybe even Capo, just to catch up to Heinemann, just to slow him down. Because even with success ballast, Tim Heinemann is just on a different planet as it stands. 27 minutes to go in this race. Lap 1 done, and well, the lead is still Tim Heinemann. Vivacqua then really close here to Daniel Gregor. It is exactly the same top 3 as we had actually in race number 1, which is very rare. We've had 10 different podium sitters across the season so far in our first 7 races. as we come then through the middle part of this circuit, heading up towards the end of sector number 2, and then that short sector number 3. It is still indeed the lead for Heinemann. Looks like Regal maybe having an attack there on Henkefend in the background. Though Regal not quite close enough, in all fairness. And you go a little bit further back here, you've got Fulgencio right behind Karasani. Karasani has got to look to push forward here. I tell you what, Papadopoulos in P11 is very racy here today. Henkefend with a late lunge up the inside. It's a huge lunge. Does he hit the apex? He absolutely does. Runs across the circuit. And is he going to keep it in line? Oh, he comes back on circuit and he completely takes out, unfortunately, there, Almeida was really a passenger in all of that. There's not much he could have done. And yeah, it was just a little bit too aggressive really there from Henkefend. Henkefend just overshot the corner, but ultimately just got a bit greedy there on the exit. And Almeida is going to be absolutely furious with that, and he has every right to be so. Papadopoulos is not going to be too worried, and neither is Fulgencio, as they are going to move up the order. Karasani, again, championship leader coming into this weekend, when he's been gifted a few spots here as well. He now chases down Jacob Regal. Well, this race is definitely not over, that is for sure. There is lots of action coming your way as Nick Hanke loves to slide this Aston Martin round the outside of Sophie Hoffman. That was a delicious little move there from Nick, and he will get the move done as well. Jordan Wallace has also moved up here as well, up to P12. The lead, though, 2.9 seconds between Heinemann and Daniel Gregor. Vivacqua is only 0.3 of a second now behind Daniel Gregor, so he really is pushing to try and get in and amongst it. Capo falling off the pace ever so slightly, around about 1.5 seconds off Vivacqua. But you've got to factor in that if you can look after your tyres, the final 10 minutes of this race is going to be very tough for drivers who've not been able to look after them. So remember that. At the end of this race, there are going to be drivers, if they've really looked after them, they could be up to a second faster a lap. As we head then up towards that final chicane, once again, it is Gregor and Vivacqua very close. Capo's actually got Moritz Lohner very close behind him as well in P5. And then we've got the next cluster of 5 cars. Karasani's had a little bit of damage to the front right of the car as well. Just in back there, Jordan Wallace sliding the car through that chicane. Is he on the limit? Absolutely. That was, yeah, very, very close to indeed losing parts of that car. But I tell you what, it looked very cool. Definitely looked really cool. It's still Heinemann at lead. It's now 3 seconds the lead. A 35.9 was the last lap that Heinemann produced. It wasn't even a good sector 1 or sector 3, yet it was still faster than absolutely everybody here on circuit. Everybody else has gone green, green, green in their sector times, apart from Heinemann, who went green in sector 2 and then grey through sector 1 and indeed 3. As Papadopoulos is getting well involved here with Fulgencio, fires that inside overlap. And I tell you what, Fulgencio is going to go on the defensive here. There's going to be contact potentially. Papadopoulos reads it, gives a bit of room there for Fulgencio. That could have ended up so bad there, but fair play. The awareness on show from the American was absolutely sensational. Fulgencio trying to make a move down in towards turn number 5. Not sure the gap really is going to materialize. But wow, incredible stuff here from Papadopoulos, and this is just a new version of Papadopoulos. He's fighting at every single opportunity. Brilliant stuff here. As we can see now, Wallace is trying to keep Hanke behind, and these two have got to try and catch up towards that top 10 and maybe potentially fight for those points. And Hanke looks very hungry for it as well. Uverhaus is out of this race, not sure exactly what's happened. Henkefend is also stopped here, and so is Hoffman. So Hoffman is indeed off to the side of the road here. And well, depending on where these cars are exactly on the circuit, we might be looking at a potential safety car, but again, I'm not too sure exactly where they were. Daniel Gregor is now starting to close in on Heinemann. He just went purple through sector 1 and sector 2, and then went green through sector number 3 at 35.6. He was 0.2 quicker than Heinemann. Heinemann just went purple through sector number 3. As we head then down towards turn number 1. Are we going to see a potential move there from Colin Karasani? Has to try and get as many points as possible. Squeezes Regal onto the apex. Regal, though, keeps his cool, keeps his calm, keeps his position. And I'm sure this battle indeed is going to continue throughout the entirety of this lap and potentially the entirety of this race. But Karasani hasn't got that much time. He has to get things done as soon as possible. He is, very similarly to Theo Uverhaus, he's a race specialist. His qualifying has not been good this season at all, as we see yellows being waved here then in towards turn 5. And well, we actually are now going to see a replay of this race start. So across the line we go. Heineman's first phase was incredible. Ricky Capo really got bogged down there on the initial start, but then gets a bit more momentum as we come down in towards the braking zone for turn number 1. Daniel Gregor had to get on the brakes earlier there than Heineman, otherwise he had run the risk of running into him, but he gets his teammate, and then Capo not able to use the full exit there because of Vivak was there. Indeed had to just be a bit more wary on the power, not able to get the traction and the power down as much as he would like to have done, and that gives Vivak a chance to move up into a top 3. And then you can see one of the BWT cars as well getting involved here. And we see there's the, oh, hold on, Nick Hanker. Did he lose that all on his own? I'm not sure if there was contact there at all. Well, we're about to find out here. Is there contact? Oh, yeah, Karasani was just given a little touch there to Hanker, and Hanker with the weight transfer all on the left-hand side of the car, ultimately nearly sent the car up in the air. As we go through, yeah, this is the incident then between Henkefend and indeed Almeida. And yeah, Henkefend just was too greedy on the entry, tried to recover the car, probably should have cut the chicane on the exit. And yeah, that's just so unfortunate there. Really is unfortunate for Almeida. Almeida really didn't do too much wrong there. He squeezed Henkefend. He said, if you're going to overtake me, it's going to be hard. But ultimately, there was contact between the two, and it's not ideal. But look at this. This driving's sensational from both of them because they both went over the limit, once each. But neither of them ended up off the circuit. It's still happening here, though, by the way, because Fulgencio is now ahead of both of these cars here. This is just great stuff, and Papadopoulos really is showcasing his best race so far this season. He looks super racy. As I say that, he runs a little bit wide. Fellow AMG there of Kauhalper nearly getting an overlap, and this gives Fulgencio the chance to drive away. Grabs a load of gravel, flashing the lights there as we see Thiago Vivacqua. Oh, he's slowing down. He is slowing down here, so he's got an issue for sure. So he was using the indicator there, and you're not supposed to use an indicator during racing unless there's some issue. So that puts Capo then up into P3. Or is this a case of he's just let him go because Capo's faster and he wants to be dragged along here? I can't see that being the case this early in the race. And well, what sort of pace does Capo have now? He does not have that success ballast that what Gregor and Heineman do have in P1 and P2. So can he find some extra pace here and potentially go and close the gap then to his teammate? Will be interesting to see if they do fight each other as well. The teammates there for the Kuss team, Bernard. And then a bit further back then you can see that Regal trying to keep hold of P6. He's still got Karasani in behind him. We've then got Fulgencio up to P8, who's moved up 4 positions during this race. Oh, Papadopoulos there runs off wide onto the AstroTurf. Not a lot of grip there, especially with the rain that we had yesterday. And wow, leaves that door wide open, tries to regain a position through 3 and then onto 4. He gets a nice run actually, does Papadopoulos. And I think you'll find here that Kauhalper might have the job done. Will have to take the inside line. Does go ultra defensive in towards 5. And I'm sure we're going to see that the pink car will indeed be ahead. Front 5 separated by around about 6 seconds, 6.2 seconds. And just looking at sector time, watch Tim Heineman going green, by the way, still in sector number 1. Everyone else relatively slower to what they've been previously. Regal went green as well as Fulgencio and Jordan Wallace. So the times will drop now because they've not only had qualifying on these tyres, but they've had the first 12 minutes of this race as well. So the tyres will start to go off here. And it's really about how you can hold on and maybe save something during the first half of this race. As we come then through the final corner. And it's still Heineman to lead, 3.3 seconds. Lap time watch again. 4/10 quicker than everybody was Heineman on that time, apart from Capo. Capo's just put the fastest lap in the race. 1/10 quicker than the leader, but more importantly, he's half a second faster than his teammate Gregor. And I'm sure if he catches up to the back of Gregor here and he is flying, the team are going to be saying, you've got to let Ricky go and try and chase down Heineman and try and drag Gregor along. Maybe if he doesn't get Heineman, then they re-swap the positions here. They can play the teammate game if they like to. So Heineman's still 3.3 in this lead as we are on board then with Kauhalper. Fulgencio just up the road then because of the battle between Papadopoulos and indeed Kauhalper, which has given Fulgencio a couple of seconds to indeed work with. So we have got ourselves a 5-second penalty for car 13 for causing a collision. So that is not ideal. And that was Lewis Henkefend, who is no longer in this race. So Lewis Henkelfeld is no longer in this race. We've also got a time penalty for car 47 for causing a collision as well. So yeah, both of those drivers for Project 1 have both got time penalties. That will be added on at the end of this race. So Heinemann still leading. 3.1 seconds is the advantage. And last lap, Heinemann was 4/10 faster than Gregor, but Ricky Capo has just gone and put in the fastest first and second sector of the race so far. So Ricky Capo really is absolutely flying here, and it will be only a matter of time before he catches up to what I would say would be Daniel Gregor. Gregor will be seeing a blue Porsche in his rearview mirror getting bigger and bigger and bigger as we do indeed move towards the halfway point of this race. Still 16 minutes 40 seconds to go of this race. Plenty of time to see some moves and shakes, that's for sure. We've got 3 retirements from this race so far. And then we've got Almeida down in 13th, Wallace in 12th, and then we've got Hanke in 11th, trying to chase down Papadopoulos. Hanke now only 0.8 of a second behind Papadopoulos. So this is very interesting indeed, as we do indeed see this battle starting to form between Capo and Gregor. Gregor, of course, will have the success ballast for finishing second in yesterday's race. So that means that he's got more weight in the car. It's quite simple as that. The tyres will be putting in a lot more work as well to try and get the same performance as Capo. So you would imagine that it will be only a matter of time before he catches up here. But how easy is this going to be? How much faster is Capo? Well, Capo's half a second faster than Heinemann right now. So he would need 8 laps. He needs 8 laps here to catch up to Heinemann at this rate, to then have a battle for the lead of this race. So surely they let him go here and let him chase down this race leader, because he's got the car underneath him, he's got the pace underneath him, and he's also apparently got the tyres underneath him as well. We've also got Moritz Lohner right in behind Vivacqua. So Vivacqua did indeed let Capo go through, I'm assuming because he had an issue. That issue seems to be resolved here, for the simple fact that Vivacqua's still running relatively good pace. Previous lap, then he's just done his fastest lap of the race. He's done a 35.876. So yeah, Vivacqua's not going slow at all. So I'm wondering whether he might have had something like an electrical issue or something that's been resolved now. Again, not too sure. In terms of Capo, how much faster was he than Gregor? Well, he was actually 0.8 of a second faster than Gregor on the previous lap, and he was 0.4 faster than Heinemann. 0.4, should I say 0.6 quicker than Heinemann. Capo has got the car here to go out and win this race for sure. Not a great start to this race. It's going to be hard work, but he's got a genuine chance then. Down in towards turn number 5, there's Uverhaus's car, the number 34. What an incredible weekend it's been for him, and it's something that can never be taken away from him now. He's the youngest ever DTM driver. It has been a very tough week, though, for the young German. He has got such a bright future ahead of him, and I'm sure that everybody will indeed be on the same page as me in saying what an incredibly talented driver, and we wish him the very best for the future, because he is going to be an absolute superstar. I can assure you of that. Right, it's teammate versus teammate. Can Ricky Capo get the job done here on Daniel Gregor, and then potentially go and chase down Heinemann? He's got half the race to do this, so he's got plenty of time to do this. There's a mistake then from Gregor, runs a little bit wide. Capo not able to take full advantage of that. I think Vivacqua then and Moritz Lohner are going to look to try and close the gap as well. Heinemann will probably be saving tyres. He's very good at saving tyres, and then if anyone tries to attack him, he's then good to put the lap times in. The heat haze then showcasing all over this long straight as we head down in towards turn number 1. And well, Daniel Gregor has not let Ricky Capo go here, so I don't think there is going to be anything other than Ricky Capo's got to get this done by himself. Through turn number 2 they come again. They're so close, starting to both lose time here to the leader as Gregor runs off the circuit wide. Capo gets very close once again in towards number 3, and now we move then towards the right hand side of 4 and really get a nice run on the exit here. Gregor is still holding firm here. You see he's sliding on exits. He really is pushing the car, which the longer this goes on, the more damage to the tyres there will be, and the slower he will become across this race. Both taking a diamond point apex then through turn number 5. Then it's the run down towards turn number 6. It's still Gregor then from his teammate Capo. They're now actually both catching up to Heinemann, so they're both taking 1/10 of a second, but that's not enough. That is absolutely not enough. Vivacqua and Moritz Lohner both also closing the gap. They have now got a 6 second though advantage to Jacob Riegel. Karasani is just falling off the back here. It's Cal Halper and Fulgencio have had a little battle, I think. Yes, Cal Halper, Eduard, has moved up into what would be P8, and he's starting to fly here again. We know that he's got some serious race pace, especially later in the races. The BWT Muka Motorsport teams always seem to have pace near the end of the race. And well, it's no different here today. Daniel Gregor, though, still holding firm against his teammate here. And I think you'll find that Ricky Capo has to get it done over the next lap or so. Otherwise, well, it might be race win opportunity done and dusted. Cal Halper, by the way, has just put the fastest lap of the race in out of everybody, a 35.428 down towards turn number 1. They will indeed go. Heinemann still leads by 3.6. He's actually extended his lead then because of the two Kuss Team Bernard cars battling for position. Maurice Lohner is up to P4 then, so Vivacqua has lost out here. Well, Maurice Lohner looking to potentially get involved in a podium. If the two teammates start fighting, they will slow each other down here. So Lohner, could he potentially get himself onto that podium? Well, we're about to see... Oh, well, no, there's a mistake then. So Vivacqua runs over the exit of that chicane. And, well, it's almost a freebie here, isn't it, for Maurice Lohner? He's not going to be too worried about that. He takes the position. He moves on. Can he move forward, though? That's the big question. As we see the massive run over the entry curb. Not as much curb used by Tim Heinemann as everybody else, but he uses a little bit more in the second part of the corner. The gap now, 3.8 seconds. So, yeah, the battle between the two teammates here is really starting to hurt. And Tim Heinemann's back into the 35s as well. So he has saved something here to try and go out there and get the race victory. So he's just not had any pressure on him. It's been a perfect weekend as it stands. And if these two just keep battling like this, as Gregor is going to run a little bit wide once again, Capo not going to be able to take advantage. We've got a battle in the background here. It's Fulgencio who's going to try and go around the outside of Cal Halper. Gets squeezed there onto the white line. Brilliant defensive driving there, actually, from one of the Pink Panthers. As we run up towards the final corner, Karasani is going to be under some severe pressure. Remember, he's going to lose 5 seconds at the end of this race. As it stands, he's going to drop down to potentially P11. He's going to be in P11, maybe even P12. As we do see Ricky Capo go for the move, he's going to unfortunately overshoot it for him. Daniel Gregor's going to say, thank you very much. I know where my breaking point is. I'm going to hold on to that position, but they're just going to both lose so much more time to that race leader. 10 minutes to go. And well, Heinemann is just getting it all his own way. It's almost a bit of a freebie at this point in terms of a race victory if these two keep going side by side like this. Daniel Gregor looking to get a second P2 in the course of 2 races. There's Hoffman's car then, down in towards turn 5. And Maurice Lohner will be looking at this in front of him thinking, yeah, you boys can crack on doing this. This is fine. Let me catch up. I want that podium. I want a trophy to chuck on my mantelpiece. And well, Vivacqua, he looks like he's got issues for sure. But there still might be that outside slim chance of a double podium weekend, which would be a very good weekend indeed. Still Heinemann leading by 3.6 seconds. So even though Gregor and Capo had that fight in towards turn number 1, they're still relatively quick here. And if they're clever, there could be a chance that they both get up towards the lead. Karasani then under some severe pressure from Cal Halper. So Cal Halper again not quite close enough to really send one up the inside. Fulgenci's just dropped off this little battle as well. Very late on the brakes there by the Frenchman here. Eduard really showcasing how good he is under braking. And I tell you what, he might have a little overlap towards that final corner. Karasani a little bit out of shape on the exit there, and Cal Halper does look to try and make a move and actually forces Karasani to make a mistake. And well, it is going to be a drag race here then. Which one's the quicker? Is it BMW or is it Mercedes? Initially, it looked like the AMG was going to have a run here down towards turn number 1. It doesn't look like that is actually going to be the case at all. So yes, Karasani is indeed going to hold on. Eduard very late on the brakes once again. Pins the apex as well, so it's not like he's racing over the top here at all as well. As there's a potential door open there through turn number 2. Backs out of it as quickly as he went into it. Karasani then runs a little bit wide. Down into towards 3 they go again. And Cal Halper has to be very savvy on the braking here. He's opened up then turn number 4 and should get a better run here down towards 5. Karasani is going to run wide, but again, I'm not sure it's quite enough. No, it definitely is not quite enough here at all. The gap coming down to the leader once again with 8 minutes to go. I think it's a little bit too late as Cal Halper finds the gap up the inside. Not sure whether there's any a bit of contact there for Karasani to run wide there, but I think that might have been a beautiful move indeed. And that is an extra position then for the AMG. Up to P7 and now off to chase down potentially Jacob Riegel. Papadopoulos still holding on to that top 10. Nick Hanker is, well, there's a mistake there from Gregor. He runs very, very wide. He opens up the corner nicely, but I think he is very much struggling with the tyres here. Capo, though, just cannot get the job done. It's a great defensive display, in all fairness, here, as we see a battle for P2, and then we're seeing a battle here for P7. Kauhalper's going to run a little bit wide. This is now bringing Fulgencio into the question here in P9, looking to move up to P8. And Karasani will lose that position anyway due to the penalty he will receive. Ricky Capo, is he going to go for it once again? I'm not sure he's close enough this time round. Late on the brakes here. He's going to open up turn one a little bit better here. Mistake there from Gregor. And again, this is only going to hemorrhage time between the two of them. Capo's got that inside line through turn number 2, but Gregor will get the better exit down towards 3. Uses none of the curb this time round. Capo looking to potentially send one then in towards turn number 3. Now they come towards turn number 4. Got to open it up nicely here so you get a nice run down in towards 5. But again, Daniel Gregor holds his line. Great stuff from both of these teammates here. They really have raced nice and clean, nice and fair. They are giving it absolutely everything here. Gregor, his tyres must be screaming at this point. And as we see then, Gregor using as much curb as you dare there, really. Almost got all 4 wheels up in the air. And his teammate still not quite close enough to take full advantage here. So here's the move then from Kauhalper. Was there contact? Well, you just saw a scrape of the rear bumper then of Karasani, but I think the mistake was already made. Oh, well, there you go. There is definitely a nudge, in all fairness. Needed to see that from multiple different angles for sure. And again, we come up towards the final chicane. The gap now 3.5 seconds here. So Heinemann is losing ground, even though these two are fighting. If they swap positions, I think earlier in this race, they could have maybe caught up to Heinemann here. But clearly, they're letting the teammates race, which is exactly what we want to see. And as we come then down towards turn number 1, this is the closest Capo has been, I think, the whole race long. Got those lights on. He's got the yellow wing mirrors, whereas Gregor's got the blue ones. And is there going to be a potential move then down in towards turn number 1? He is going to go late on the brakes here. He is side by side, but when he hit the apex this time round, he's going to run wide again. Daniel Gregor's going to say, thank you very much. I'll retake that position here. And Capo making another mistake. This is playing into the hands of Heinemann even more so here. It's going to be a double race for a win for Heinemann unless something changes here very, very quickly. Moritz Lohner P4 will be loving this as well, because if these two keep doing this, he will catch up. There is that potential opportunity for him to get himself a podium. He's in 4th right now, but it would take a mistake, I think. Almeida, I've just seen go past my commentary box. He's in the pits here. Looks like that might be a retirement then for Almeida. Absolutely gutted, and you know he was an innocent bystander really when Henkefend just tagged the rear of his AMG and sent him round the wrong way in the final chicane. Such a huge shame. And well, I'm sure we'll see him come back stronger in Spa. But that looks like it's weekend over, unfortunately. Their teammate is in P7, so it looks like they will get some solid points. Yeah, not the best day in the office for Rodrigo Almeida, unfortunately. And he's got a big fan base, so there's a lot of people out there who are going to be absolutely gutted by that. This is the battle for P2. It's been happening for pretty much, I don't know, 2/3 of this race at this point. Are we going to see a change for position as we go a little bit further back? Then Riegel has been caught here then by Eduard Kauhalper. And will he potentially be able to get this position? He's forced Riegel to go defensive then into that final corner. You shouldn't lose too much time here, but if you don't get a good exit, you then will get mugged off down towards turn number 1. Number 63 versus the number 18. Who's going to come out on top then? The Aston Martin and the AMG look very similar for pace in terms of their acceleration, but as they come down towards the top end, the AMG is indeed going to hold firm. Down towards turn number 1, hits the apex perfectly, and Riegel then does drop down positions. It will be indeed P7 now for Riegel, and Kauhalper gets himself a P6. Brilliant move there, well executed, forced Riegel offline through that final corner, and then forced him to not get the best exit out of the final corner, and then drag raced him all the way down to 1, broke a little bit later, hits the apex, gets across the bonnet of the Aston Martin, and that is job done. It's great stuff. Some very clean racing, and then some little mistakes from our drivers today, that's for sure. But at this stage, this is the hottest the track's been actually, considering we didn't have any qualifying, and the race was kind of mixed conditions yesterday. It was dry for the trophy drivers, but it was mixed conditions because there was still water in the AstroTurf on the exits of corners. So yeah, it was a little bit of a different day here. Papadopoulos and Fulgencio, we're on board with Fulgencio here in that media-marked car, looking to get past Karasani. They will get the position anyway because of the penalty. but they want to get it done on track here. Papadopoulos looking to get his best performance so far this season. He's doing a very, very good job here indeed, and just been fighting really, really strongly as well. So it's really nice to see. And it seems like as we've come to the halfway point of the season, we're now beyond the halfway point of the season. A lot of the drivers at the start of the season that were really struggling with the car, maybe never driven these cars before, are starting to really find their feet. So we will see some surprise winners across the rest of the season, that's for sure. Ricky Capo is now falling off of Daniel Gregor. Gregor is catching up to Tim Heineman. 0.6 of a second he grabbed out of him last time round. And with 2 minutes left of this race, I think we've got, 3 laps remaining? It needs to be a second a lap faster from Daniel Gregor. Otherwise, Heineman's going to take 2 victories out of 2. We've got Karasani, who's going to drop all the way down to P11. He's not going to score points here today, and the gap is going to be absolutely huge going into Spa next time round. Uverhaus, who's currently 3rd in the championship, he's not going to score either. Vivacqua, who's currently 4th, is only going to get P5 here. Tim Heineman, this has been the most perfect weekend for him so far, because not only has he got 2 race victories, but everybody else around him hasn't been able to consistently perform. So it's brilliant from him. Gregor now under that 3-second mark to Tim Heineman. Wondering if Heineman might be starting to struggle here. Again, I'm not sure that 2.8 second gap is going to be caught here unless there's an issue with Heineman's car. As you can see, Karasani's just trying to keep those cars behind him, and in all fairness, if someone gets a run on him, whatever's going to cost him the least amount of time, really, let someone go by if it's going to be a side-by-side battle, because you're going to lose more and more positions as the race does indeed go on. Not long left to go here. 1 minute left of our weekend at the Nürburgring, and it's Heineman that still leads 2.5 seconds. So yeah, again, it's half a second that's been taken out there by our Porsche driver of Daniel Gregor. It's not enough here. We have got ourselves 2 laps remaining of this race. He needs to be putting in the fastest laps we've had so far during the weekend, 2 in a row, and then he might be right behind Heineman, but I'm not sure he's quite close enough here. Capo was a little bit closer this time around, but he's not going to be able to make the move in towards turn 1. Here's Papadopoulos then, who will get P9 as it stands because of the penalty. So we will indeed get that P9 because of the penalty for Karasani. Karasani needs to make sure that he is 5 seconds ahead of Hanka to hold on to that final points-paying position. As it stands, he just about is. So he's half a second clear right now of getting that final point is Karasani. You see the 2 Porsches, the potential in this car this weekend. I feel like they're the race-winning car this weekend for sure, for both races. But Heineman has just turned up to party. He is a ridiculous race driver, that's for sure. Gregor might be under a bit of pressure here as Capo. This is the closest he's been out of the S's there. Up through the kink they will come. And up towards that final chicane. Is there the opportunity to make the overtake? Maybe not close enough to do it this time round, but absolutely will open up the chicane. We'll try and do something similar to what Cowhelper did around that final corner. Gregor grabbing loads of curb there. And really, right now, if you're Capo, you've got to force Gregor to be defensive on the entry to this corner. And, well, Gregor has not taken the bait there at all, has he? He opens up the final corner, which means that Capo won't get an incredible run on him down towards turn number 1. But this is the closest he has been. We are on the final lap of the race here then. Tim Heineman still leading. The gap, 2.6 seconds. These 2 Porsches have been battling pretty much for the entirety of this race as Capo does go for a final lunge here. Is it 3rd time lucky? It is 3rd time lucky. He will get up to P2. Gregor will not have the tyres to come back at him, I'm pretty sure. Capo squeezes his teammate out wide. It's sensational from both of them. Real clean, hard, fair racing between the teammates. And Gregor, is he going to go for a little bite of this cherry? Well, he forces Capo to be very defensive there, then grabs loads of curb on the inside as we see the top 10 all in the same part of the circuit. But Capo, it's taken him all race long to do it. He had a poor start, which he'll rue for sure. And ultimately, that might have cost him a chance of winning this race, but he's done the best he can to get himself back up in a battle, potentially for P2. But I tell you what, he runs wide there through 5, doesn't he? He absolutely does. Gregor, though, not able to take advantage. Moritz Lohner is thinking, can you guys have one more battle? Give me that opportunity to go and close up towards the lead, as we now have merely 1 sector to go. Tim Heineman, it's been just a demolition job this weekend. It doesn't matter who he's racing against. If it's DTM Trophy, he is the absolute king of this class. Up towards that final chicane, very much snaking under braking there as well. Capo coming through the chicane in 2nd spot. Gregor then just in behind, and then Moritz Lohner in P4. One corner to go then for Tim Heinemann for Toyota Gazoo Racing Germany, powered by Ring Racing. The longest team name in the history of motorsport. I have to say it quite often because Tim Heinemann is yet again another winner, drifting his way across the line. And his championship lead is going to be huge after this weekend. Thoroughly deserved championship win, thoroughly deserved 2 race victories. And is there anybody can stop this man from getting his second DTM Trophy Championship? Ricky Capo finally has some fortune. He didn't have the greatest of starts. He qualified well, but he's battled his way up to P2, and he does grab that P2. The team, because Team Bernard have got 3 podiums this weekend. Gregor has a second and a third now as well. They finally, as a team, have some luck as well. We've then got Moritz Lohner, who's had an incredible race here, just making overtake, picking people off. Nothing really too scary either. Just managed to indeed get himself into a P4 by just racing clever. Vivacqua, I feel like must have had an issue, as we see here, Tim Heinemann. Oh wow, giving us an absolute show. Yeah, those tyres will be used in practice at Spa. We're not going to be seeing very quick times from him there, that's for sure. But yeah, Tim Heinemann is just a different beast this season. Someone who was very straight-faced and very serious when it came to racing a couple of years ago, but has just lightened up opened up his mind, his horizons, and he's just a smiley racing driver these days. It's actually a pleasure to talk to him, and a pleasure to be around him. He's a very, very nice chap. But yeah, used to be a little bit hard work to have a chat with, if I'm completely honest. But yeah, this is a different Tim, and well, it's the same result, isn't it? Season 1, a dominant champion. Season 2, I'm sure he wouldn't want me to discuss too much about Season 2. Well, Season number 3. Oh. Yeah, Tim Heinemann's back, and he means business. Ricky Capo on the final lap there went purple through Sector 1 and Sector 2. I will say one thing, though. Cal Halper for BWT Muka Motorsport, he got the fastest lap of the race. So 35.428 was the fastest lap of the race. Here's Daniel Gregor, then. He finished down in 3rd position. I say down in 3rd position. It was a really good weekend for Daniel Gregor. Considering what happened to him at Imola, phenomenal performance this weekend. Ricky Capo gets 2nd, he gets a podium. And I think that's our 11th driver on the podium this season. But the day, the weekend, maybe the season belongs to Tim Heinemann. So here is your official classification. And Tim Heinemann, Toyota Gazoo Racing Germany, powered by Ring Racing, leads the championship with 151 points. Karasani still in 2nd with 112 for Project 1. Vivacqua on 77, moves up to 3rd then for Haida Motorsport. Uwe Haus, an incredible weekend for him in terms of where he's going to go in the future. Unfortunately, in terms of points for the championship, not the best weekend for DTM Trophy. Here are your 3 drivers then. Heinemann will indeed get out the car, and he will be pretty excited. I think this might be one of his favourite wins so far this season. Goes and celebrates them with his team. And then you've got Capo and Gregor embracing each other as well. They raced really hard. They really did. And it wasn't even close to taking each other out. They raced hard but fair. Capo finally got him. Incredible. And well, there's Heinemann bringing out the 4. It's nice to see this young man, though. So much misfortune. His engine seized up at the last rounds at Nürburgring. And well, he's backed it up this weekend with some serious pace. Didn't quite go so well in terms of racing yesterday. But when it comes to the race today, delivered, got the P2.
Der DTM Trophy hier auf dem Nürburgring, der Sonntag. Und wir beginnen mit dem Drittplatzierten. Aus Deutschland, gestern auf Platz 2. Heute Daniel Gregor auf der 3. Position. Gratulation, Daniel.
So I'll just leave you now with the podium ceremony. We'll be back.
Auf der 2. Position begrüßen wir Ricky Capo. 2nd place today. Congratulations. Die
gestern heißt auch heute das siegreiche Team Toyota Gazoo Racing Germany, powered by Ring Racing. Und wir begrüßen als Teamvertreter
stellvertretend für das Ring Racing Team Jan Bien, den Mechaniker, auf dem Podest.
Es war der 4. Saisonsieg, oder es ist der 4. Saisonsieg für den Deutschen.
Tim Heinemann, Gratulation! Einmal abklatschen nach oben und nun geht's zur Ehre des Siegers, Tim Heinemann,
Die deutsche Hymne. So, das war erstmal die Hymne und jetzt kommen wir zu den Pokalen.
Aus den Händen von Lukas, einem der Sieger der DTM Fan Experience, gibt es den Pokal für unseren Drittplatzierten. Gestern auf 2, wie schon gesagt, Daniel Gregor. Herzlichen Glückwunsch. Der Pokal für Ricky Capo aus den Händen von Bianca,
Einer weiteren Gewinnerin der DTM.
der Fan Experience. Gratulation euch beiden. Dann sehen wir gleich Lukas wieder mit dem Pokal, mit der Trophäe für das siegreiche Team Toyota Gazoo Racing Germany, powered by Ring Racing. Jan Beginn steht stellvertretend für sein Team und übernimmt die Trophäe aus den Händen von Lukas. Gratulation! Bianca nochmal mit dem Pokal. Zum 4. Mal der große Pott.
In dieser Saison für Tim Heinemann. Gratulation!
So, natürlich noch Händchen schütteln da oben auf dem Podium an alle 4.
Die herzlichsten Glückwünsche und nun einmal bitte zusammen gehen. Please get together for the official photo. Race 2 on Nürburgring.
Trophy, genau. That looks good.
Genauso soll es sein und nun zum Champagner.
So there you have it, Tim Heinemann, winner of the DTM Trophy Race 2 here at the Nürburgring for the weekend. Capo in 2nd and Daniel Gregor is in 3rd position. Wow, that Ring Racing team, they have had some success this year. Will they be able to take the championship? See how happy everybody is at the team. Very close-knit team as well. Lots of smiles. I'm sure there'll be more beer, more champagne drunk this evening. Very deserving team for sure. So here are your official results. And Heinemann P1, Capo P2, Gregor in 3rd spot. Then we've got Lona and Vivacqua as your top 5. Cowhalper, Regal, Fulgencio, Papadopoulos and Karasani round out your top 10. So Karasani did do enough just to get that 1 point at the end there. Hanke in 11th. We then got Wallace, Almeida, Hoffman, Henkefeld and Uverhaus. Oh, what a weekend here at the Nürburgring. We'll be back in a couple of weeks when we head to Spa.